Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. I hope you guys made a great week of it. And today we're going to go and get started. The Beta Project. It's me, DeMarcus Tunstall. You can always follow us on YouTube at Humble and Focus. Today is November 22nd, 2019. And today is going to be a pretty powerful one. I'm praying that God gives me some great words to give to you. And today is generational ish versus generational shift. And today's quote is, "We repeat what we do not repair." All right, y'all ready to go? Let's get it. Let me go ahead and bring me up. Here we go. Good morning. How are you? Bring it down. Hey, how you doing? So, generational ish versus generational shift. It was not originally my plan. Today I was supposed to talk about I was supposed to talk about some stuff from The Secret. We're supposed to go into The Secret today. We're supposed to talk about what was it today? It's supposed to be. Hold on one sec. The process of visualization. But this came up. I was listening to something this morning, T.D. Jakes and another guy, David Goggins, and this came out of it. So this is what I'm going to go in today. The generational ish versus generational shift. Now, why is it so important? Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we're trying to do here in this world is we're trying to build leaders. But to build leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to get these people ready to go by breaking down what had been a piece of them. The problem is we got so many leaders out here that are leading, and they're just as broken as the people that they're leading, and they don't understand why they're not leading them to anywhere great. We've got to take control of that, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to step up and step forward and start to take care of ourselves, because we all come with baggage. How many of you guys remember seeing a picture like this? Nope. There you go. You guys remember this picture? You guys remember as a kid being able to see this? Do you remember seeing this like in the old school movies? And in the old school movies, this the whole point of this is like you see a jailer with this on his ankle. And the whole point was to slow him down. He couldn't move. He couldn't run because of this weight that was being held to him. And we got people out there right now who have weight all over them. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, we're not willing to let go of that weight because we've known that weight all our lives. That's why generational ish, because you know I don't cuss, versus generational shift is such a big topic here. Why? What you got, and the reason I said generational, let's break this down. The reason I said generational is because we're talking about the stuff that was given to you by your parents as you've been growing up, or by the people who raised you as you've been growing up. Ironically enough, ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, we're not all perfect. It just happens that way. You can strive to be perfect after you realize that you're imperfect. But the thing is, if you don't realize you're imperfect, you'll never try to change. Which means that if you don't realize that there's something different or something wrong with having an ankle bracelet, like this giant ball and chain on your ankle, if you don't realize there's anything different about that, you'll carry this throughout your life. Now, the problem with that is that you are going to raise children yourself who are also going to have ankle bracelets on, who are also going to be self-limited. Ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be things that are going to happen to your life that's going to affect you. We know that people have been raped out there. We know that people have seen death out there. People have been addicted to things. People have been in poverty. People have been hungry and starving. But you can't let this generational-ish control you. You have to shift yourself to the next level and use that ball and chain as fuel to put in your car to go forward. But how many of us are sitting behind everything that we have, and sitting at our desk, and instead of directly attacking what is going on in us, we're allowing this ball and chain to slow us? Because it's a whole lot easier, ladies and gentlemen, to not have to deal with what's weighing us down. It's a whole lot easier to not have to deal with what's on our ankle that we're dragging every single day in every single way. Because, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? If you have a ball and chain on, how you run will be different than how you would run without it. How you walk upstairs will be different than how you walk upstairs without it. How you play any sports will be different than how you play sports without it. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because, ladies and gentlemen, the ankle, this weight on your ankle is affecting everything you choose to do. How you shower will be different. How you get in the bathtub will be different. How you get into bed will be different. Everything you do, ladies and gentlemen, will be affected by the weight around your ankle. So here's what I'm trying to get to you, right? So we got to take this generational ish, and we've got to go to the generational shift. You've got to shift for your family. You've got to step up and step forward for those people who need you to be the example that they need to lead from. But some of you aren't willing to move because you're really comfortable and used to having this ankle, this weight on your ankle. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to come off easy. One of the things in the movies you did not see is you didn't see them just take it and just like, hold on, you get your foot up there, just, grab it, just slip it right off. Hold on, you can't see. Hold on, let me pull this off. Hold on one second. You didn't see them just grab that ankle, just slip it off and just run down the street. It doesn't work that way. They had to get hacksaws. They had to get keys. They had to get somebody to get in there and cut it off. Because the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, the weight we carry, that itch that we carry from the generation of people who came before us, that weight that we carry, listen, man, that weight is not going to be easy to get off. It's going to take a little something to get that weight off our ankles, to get us where we need to be. And you know what? Most of the time, you're going to need a little help to do it. But don't go find other people with ankle problems because they got weight on their ankles and is dragging it and get with them because they're all moving the same speed as you. Oh, no, no, no. Go with people who have been where you want to go and get with them. Help them. Let them help you get that ankle bracelet off of you, or that weight off of your ankle, that weight that's holding you down in life. Could you imagine how different life would be for African Americans if we allowed the same generational issue of slavery to take us throughout life right now? It wouldn't be the same. We were like, no, we're slaves, we're captive, we're good, we're not gonna grow, we're not gonna strive for it. No, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Could you imagine? I mean, the thing is, listen, we're talking about, black people in slavery, but we could talk about the Irish, we could talk about all these different nations that came over to the United States to change their life, but because they needed a better life, instead of staying in their generational ish, they made a generational shift to come to another place to grow and be better. Latin communities right now, they're coming to get a shift. Because what they have right now is weighing them down and they know they need more. So what's your ish is the question, ladies and gentlemen. The thing is, for you to make sure that you get your ish off of you, you've got to first make sure you understand what your ish is. You got to understand what it is that's around your ankle that's allowing you to slow yourself down, because you cannot fix what you do not understand. You're trying to hacksaw something off whenever it's glued on. It's not going to work. You're going to cut your leg off. So you have to understand what your shift is, or what your ish is, and how to get it off your ankle. That's the biggest deal, right? So we got quotes for days, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons that I also brought up this quote right here is because if you don't get your generational ish off of you, your kids are doomed to repeat it. Their kids are doomed to repeat it. Until one person in your family finally says, I've had enough of this ankle bracelet that has been given to me by someone else, and they move forward. Are you getting stuck in your life by the things that are given to you by someone else? Are you willing to move away from your family's troubles to get to what you're willing to get? So, ladies and gentlemen, the reason I said that is because it says we repeat what we don't repair. Do you want, if for no other reason, do you hate your children so much that you're not willing to repair who you are so you don't pass it on to them? If you don't have a reason to repair yourself, what about repairing yourself for your kids? So that they don't have to deal with, the fact that you were touched as a child. They don't have to deal with that. What about dealing with yourself, the making a better life for your children so they don't have to understand what it's like to eat bologna sandwiches that you have to cut in half, one in the morning, one in the evening, or not have heat in the house, or whatever your ish is that you represent, ladies and gentlemen. If you're not willing to step up and attack that now for yourself, attack it for the generation. That's why it's generational ish, not just my ish. Because it's time to get outside of yourself and see that, it's generational ish that needs to go. That's going to affect the future, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just something that's going to happen to you. Because what's happening to you right now will continue and be passed on to the next generation. All right? Healing requires you to feel your emotions. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not telling you not to have emotions. We're not telling you not, that things are going on. What we're telling you is that you need to recognize that it's the ego that carries that story. But your soul has a capacity to prevail through it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's what's inside of us, the ego that won't let us go, because we are defining ourselves by the story that we tell ourselves. That's why getting outside of this generational ish is so important, because if we sit here and we define ourselves by this ish, now our children have learned what the definition of this ish is because they see it in us. We may not tell them what it is, but they see it in us and they know it to be true, and now they know it to be the everyday. They know, okay, that's fine. but it's not fine. You know it's not fine. Your heart knows it's not fine, but you're allowing your life to be fine because you're showing your kids it's okay to live in this suffering and this misery and this mental pain and this physical pain by not shifting forward and saying, I need to do better for you so you have another example to live by. Who is the example that you're going to live by, ladies and gentlemen? What example are you going to give? Are you going to give your children and your children's children the same crap that you will receive? If you didn't like the crap, why are you passing it on? It's time to shift. And it goes for your children, it goes for your community. If you don't have kids, it's fine. Do it for your community because they're watching you too. If you're any type of leadership, they're watching you to understand that there's something that needs to go on and needs to change. But if they can't see it in you, how do they know it can be done? It's the ego that carries the story. But the soul has the capacity to prevail through it all. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to let it go. You got to get that ankle weight off of your ankle. You can't let this sit here and define you and weigh you down forever. But instead, remove it from your person and learn to run free. There was a story, Steve Harvey was talking about fleas and how high they can jump. And if you put them in they can jump, let's say they can jump 4 feet. Fleas can jump 4 feet, and you put them in a 4-foot box, they will jump right out of the box. But if you put a lid on it, they'll jump and they'll keep hitting the lid. But then all of a sudden the fleas will start curtailing their jump to just jump barely enough to where they hit the top. Well, the problem is fleas multiply. And as the fleas are jumping in there and they multiply, their children see how high the fleas are jumping, and now they start jumping, and they never hit the top lid, and they never realize how high they could jump because they've seen their parents only go to the top of the lid, maybe 3'4" or 3'8" or 3'11", you know, just hitting right there, but they never hit the top. So the new fleas never see what it's like to jump 4 feet. And the next generation comes in and they see those fleas jumping, so they jump less and less and less until, ladies and gentlemen, you have a generation of fleas that won't jump because they know that the top's there, but they don't know why they didn't start. They don't know why they can't jump 4 feet. They don't know why, and they don't understand why, you know, they can't jump out of here. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you can take the lid off and they still won't get out because they've been programmed for life to just jump high enough. So you got a 4-foot glass, you got a 4-foot bucket that they're in, and they won't jump out of it. They'll only jump 2 feet because they've seen their parents jump 2 feet because they've been trained by the people above them. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get the weight off our ankles because it's time to go. All right, let's see what else we got here. So switching your mentality from I'm broken and helpless to I'm growing and healing, and watch your life changes and watch how your life changes for the better. Ladies and gentlemen, this is self-explanatory. We've got to make sure we're switching what we're telling ourselves. If you don't think so, ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, pick up The Secret. It talks about the power of thought and what thought does to us. And I'm not even reading from The Secret today. This is quotes I found. But ladies and gentlemen, we've got to switch what we say. You're not broken and helpless. You're growing and healing. You know, you're not done. It matters what you say to yourself. And that kind of talks about the visualization thing. And maybe I'll bring this quote back because it's the big one. Actually, I will. I won't even go any further on this one. And here's the last quote here, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the last one. Healing doesn't mean the damage never existed. Ladies and gentlemen, healing doesn't mean that the weight was never around your ankle. What it means is that it no longer has weight to control your life. Once you take the ankle weight off, the ball and chain off your ankle, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't just disappear, it stays there. You can see it, but you're just not affected by it anymore. So I need you to take that ankle bracelet off, that ball and chain off your ankle, because you've got some jumping and flying to do, and you can run faster than you've ever ran before, but you'll never be able to do that without that ankle bracelet going. It's time to get rid of that generational shift, that has been given to you, and time to move to the generational shift that is promised to you. God's going to take care of you. So why are you staying so completely, utterly in your essence? But you're gonna have to move. T.D. Jakes says something today that says, give us this day our daily bread. In the Bible, give us this day our daily bread, right? But it doesn't say that he puts the food right in the mouth. You have to reach for it. Meaning that God will give it to you if you ask for it, but you've got to be willing to reach for it. It's got to be within reach to go get it. He's not just gonna put the food in your mouth. No, that's not how it works. So if you're not willing to get up and go get it for yourself, if you're not willing to start the process to take this ankle bracelet off, it will stay on, because God will give you the tools to take it off, but he won't take it off for you. That's up to you. And it just depends on how long you want to suffer and sit there and your generational ish and not move forward into your shift, because your shift is what's next. If you notice that the generational ish is a verb, if you know what word I'm using, you know what word, there's a T missing. Ish is a noun. It's something. It's a person, place, thing. It just sits here. but shift is a verb. So one is stagnant and one is moving. So ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to realize and step up and say, what do I want? Do I want something that's going to be stagnant and hold me back? This itch is just going to be there, or do I want movement to go to the next level so I can change the lives of my family, I can change the lives of my community, I can change the lives of these random strangers that I meet on the street in this 3-foot rule. So the question is, what do you want out of your life? And that's what you need to decide. Will you pick the generational itch because it's easy? It's a whole lot easier just to get used to having that weight on your ankle. Or will you take stock in who you are and what you want and get out there and go to a generational shift and shift outside of the pain that is you, shift outside of the things that have happened to you, those experiences that you've had, shift outside of those and get out of the ankle monitor bracelet ball and chain, get outside of that and move to the next level, because in the next level you have speed and flight. Here you are slow and sluggish. It's time to not be comfortable anymore, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to shift for everybody. Stop thinking of yourself and how easy it is to stay in your stuff. Shift for those that you love. Shift for those you want to help. Every day I try to get up and do a little something different. Why? For you. I have brothers and sisters and mom and dad, but I don't have kids, and I don't have all these pieces. I don't have a girlfriend. I don't have kids. I don't have a wife. But I need to shift for my community because there's something more coming. And if I'm not willing to take off my brace, my weight that's holding me down, ladies and gentlemen, that ish, that's generational, that might have been passed down of weakness, or that I can't do it, that it's okay to be broke, that it's okay to just live by my means. If I'm not willing to break those chains, then no one else breaks their chains either. What follows me will only follow me the way I am. And if I'm not willing to move my ish with me, then it stays right there. And ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have for you today. Just remember this. This is huge. Healing doesn't mean that the damage never happened, ladies and gentlemen. Something happened to you, it's okay, but it's time to heal it. It just means that it no longer controls you. It's time to drop your ish and trying to move to your shift. I believe and I love in each and every single one of you, ladies and gentlemen. And just remember this last quote. We repeat what we don't repair. So I need you guys to get out there and repair and start that repair process. It's not going to be an immediate situation. Even a mechanic that goes to a car does not just look at the car, touch the button on the car, and the car is fixed. No, he has to work on it. So now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to put the work in. That shift is verb. That shift is action. The work that is necessary to get it there, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to do that. You've got to step forward. And if you don't ever do it, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't go away. Some people are going to die and pass on their ish. But the great thing is just like Moses led the people from the promised land, it was supposed to take 11 days. It took 40 years because they had to get rid of all that ish that they were carrying around. And until they get rid of all that ish, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you right now, you can't move fast to get rid of that ish. And they were ready to be in their new place until they got rid of that ish. So my question is that if you're not willing to get rid of your ish, then you're going to die, and your next generation is going to have that ish. And you better pray to God that somebody else helps them to get rid of that ish. Like I said, if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the others. That's all I have for you. Thank you guys. Have a blessed day. Happy Friday. And you guys be safe, and I'll see you again on Monday. Thank you.